That's what our practices are. That's what these nourishing, life-giving, and life-sustaining practices are. They are a gift to ourselves. They are a gift to the three-centered being that we are. They're nourishment for our highest, clearest mind, our head center. It brings us into the vastness of that ocean of loving compassion that we are at the heart center. And our practices support our ability to live the alignment of our wisdom and our love in action. That's our core center, our body center of power. Each of us is a three-centered being: wisdom, love, power. And oftentimes we can feel congruent. Like, it's like, okay, head and heart, we got this. We're talking, we're in agreement. And it's like, merp. Then that last piece of living whatever it is in our lives and living the simple directions we hear in our lives from that place of courage and presence and clarity. So what I love about Qigong is that it has both a feminine grace, and I don't mean like genders and things, I mean an energy. When you're moving in Qigong, oh, so many things are cool about it. And it's why it's one of my important recipes for wellness and vitality. Qigong is great in that if you feel inclined, this isn't a directive. If you feel inclined, your gaze can soften. You can bring your gaze inward and you can feel into the movements. That's where you really are allowing yourself to feel the potency of the feminine grace that each of you is, while experiencing that masculine energy of structure, of balance, of vastness, and of power. So I love this practice because it brings those energies internally in harmony. 3 things I love about Qigong. That was 1. Number 2, I love Qigong because each move, when my eyes soften and I'm feeling the practice, kind of like a medicine moving through my body, I'm always brought into some aspect or some connection to nature. Each move, even if you didn't know the title, it might be fun to just call the move sometime, honey, like move A, move B, right? So there's no like Phoenix swims deep in the ocean because each move brings you in communion. And I mean communion and communing with a different element or a different aspect of nature. We are nature. Qigong brings you into the embodied experience of your true essential nature. And what you are isn't your personality and the role you're playing in your lives. So Qigong has the potency to bring you into the direct experience, not a thought, of what you really are, the vastness that you really are. Number 3, why I love Qigong, is that I grew up going to church with my dad on Sundays, and I loved going to church with him because I liked the incense smell and I liked that we got McDonald's afterwards. Now, what I most loved about church was simultaneously my first memory in this incarnation, 5 years old, in a movie theater, and the lights go down and the words come up in yellow and John Williams' Star Wars soundtrack kicks in and a Star Destroyer starts flying across the screen. Okay, this is my literal first memory. So I'm learning about the Force at 5 and I'm going to church. And the Force is Star Wars is explaining to me what they're talking about in church. And I'm like, oh, pick your language: consciousness, divinity, love, God, what is, energy, chi, the Force. That energy that connects and weaves through everything, animating us and everything around us. That's what you get to feel. You get to feel the force when you're doing Qigong. You get to feel, you see, in church, the little blip that I didn't sit with me was, it seems like we're trying to think our way to God or to love or to divinity and consciousness. But the force and Qigong is where you have your own direct experiences with whatever that is for you. It's kind of a wordless thing. Like, thank goodness for Rumi and Hafiz and these great poets that can, like, you know, and Khalil Gibran, like, they can use some words to kind of bring us close to what that divinity is and source energy. And it's wordless. It's a felt direct experience. So Qigong has the potential to afford you, for some of you, maybe the first time, like, oh my gosh, this is what that is. And it's not a thought. Source, God, is not a thought. We can't think our way through beliefs to it with a capital I, and we can feel it. The last thing I'll say is His Holiness was asked a beautiful question. What is the purpose of life? And he said, without missing a beat, it's a bit of a deviation from the Tibetan Buddhist traditional language. He said, it's to feel the embodiment of the transcendent. And that is why I love Qigong. So lastly, friends, have fun. Like, have fun. Like, don't approach any of our practices with like serious. We can approach with reverence. We can approach with grace, gratefulness and humility, and definitely toss seriousness out the door. Allow sounds, allowed for spontaneous laughter, allow for spontaneous leaking from the eyes, because sometimes something's releasing. We are wired with this incredible healing mechanism of like laughter and tears and yawning and all kinds of things. Let those happen, right? It doesn't have to be like a silent, serious practice. Like, ooh, if your body feels good, make some sounds of like, oh, this feels so good, right? Enjoy yourselves.